You ever thought about starting your own podcast? When I was trying to get this podcast off the ground, I had a lot of questions. How do I record an episode? How do I get my show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and other places people like to listen? How do I make money from my podcast? The answer to every one of these questions is really simple. Anchor. Anchor is a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. And now Anchor can match you with great sponsors too, so you get paid for this podcast. What I like about it is starting using it is how easy it is to use. I just upload those episodes of my podcast. I placed it other places, do some editing and tinkering, and voila, that's it. It's that simple. So if you always wanted to start your own podcast, make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start to join me in the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. That's anchor.fm/start. I can't wait to hear your podcast. And now, let's get on with the show. Right now, millions of pets at shelters and rescues across the country are waiting to be adopted. While every shelter pet is unique, some love a good game of fetch. Others would rather snuggle together on a couch. However, there's one thing they all have in common. They're all pure love. It's kind of like the love I have for my dog, Bella, who's also a shelter pet. But did you know there's only 44% of dogs and 47% of cats in American homes come from animal shelters and rescue groups? And there's plenty out there, and we need to get out there and start adopting these pets. So if you're thinking about getting a pet this holiday season, make sure you visit the shelterpetproject.org first and take a look at a shelter pet. Brought to you by the Ad Council, Maddie's Fund, and the Humane Society of the United States. You ever felt you're being watched sometimes? Have you ever had a cold shiver run down your spine? Sometimes we go through that. Sometimes we look for answers to questions we don't really truly understand. Like, are we truly alone in the universe? Is there life after death? This world is weird. It gets weirder by the day. And in that weird are questions that we have as curious beings known as humans. Tonight, we look into some of those questions and get a little weird. Because we all are just a tad bit weird. Tonight on Weekend Weird. Welcome to Weekend Weird, the show about the weird and mundane on this universe. Also, one of your stops for true crime and discretion. I'm your host, producer of the show, RedNick, and I'm here with my usual co-host, the great and powerful Ogul.
When did I get that title?
You know what? It just came a couple of days ago.
I will absolutely take it.
Yes. How's it going, man?
It's going good, man. What did we record last week?
Well, last time we recorded, it was the moon landing.
Oh, right, yeah.
Yeah, that was last month.
I feel like we could have come with some more conspiracies on that episode. Like, we only covered a few of the major ones.
Yeah.
And I feel like I personally could have done a little bit more research on that one.
Yeah, but I think we covered the logistics of it.
It's just, it was one of those topics where, like, I didn't know much about it before he brought up the subject,
Mm-hmm.
and it's such a mountain of conspiracy that I don't know. It was just like too much when I was reading about it before you came over.
Yeah, and we could have brought up some more. I mean, well, next season we revisit for the first episode next season. Spoiler alert: we revisit one of your favorite topics,
Which
Mothman.
Ah,
So we're going back to Mothman because there's been more sightings.
there hasn't, and in fact, WBZ did another episode of the Curious City about the Mothman.
Oh, okay.
So this was also their second one.
Oh, shoot. Well, it'd be a good time to go back after the new year, but we're getting a little ahead of ourselves because we got one more for this year, 2019. It's a story that has been covered by true crime enthusiasts, podcasts, television shows, you name it. They've covered this.
The true heartwarming Christmas story of...
Yes. Of Casey Anthony.
Hey.
Yes. It just warms the heart when you hear the story of Casey Anthony and her daughter, little Caylee Anthony, who was found murdered. Mother was charged, and she was acquitted of said murder. But the story is very weird indeed, and also it points out the issues that we're having in the United States, because there's quite a few people who listen to the show that don't live in the United States, so might not be that familiar with our judicial system. Problems that we have with the judicial system here in the United States, and also how fucking crazy the state of Florida is.
I think the second part is a little bit more globally known.
Mm-hmm.
Because the state of Florida memes are quite abundant online.
Yes.
And it never fails to amaze me how many news stories come out with Florida man.
Yeah, and I was talking about that with a guy, and we were like, why do we hear so many crazy stories about Florida? And to come to find out is because of their laws. Mm-hmm. Because once someone's arrested, whether they're charged or not, it
becomes like immediate public
record out there. So you hear these weird stories of man tries to have sex with alligator while golfing at 18 holes at local golf club, or whatever crazy story you can think about come out of Florida.
Man drowned sword fighting on a paddle boat.
Yeah, in a boat.
While listening to Rod Stewart.
Yeah. Florida, or crazy orange man moves to a large hotel and resort while being president of the United States.
Oh wait.
Oh shit.
It's like a horror story.
Oh god.
I think the epitome, or like the pinnacle, I should say, of the crazy Florida man stories was the face eater, right? The bath salt guy.
Yeah. It wasn't even sure the dude was on bath salts.
I thought it was.
I mean, that was one of the things he was on, but they weren't sure that it was totally all bath salts.
Yeah.
It's just a guy eating another guy's face, and everyone thinking it's the zombie apocalypse and shit. Oh, fuck. Which was another topic we'll get to on Weekend Weird, these crazy stories about people going through the zombie apocalypse. They're all ready for the zombie apocalypse. Remember that shit?
Yeah, I thought it was going to start happening when we started seeing all the sightings of the it clowns everywhere.
Yeah, well, that was a different story. That's clowns going up. And I tell you, the best way to stop a cloud invasion is with a mine invasion. Just let them fight it out.
I feel like mimes low-key have like some strength. Some of that like...
Yeah. And they get pissed off too.
Silent man strength, yeah, right.
Yeah, like they got a union. They're all pissed off. Like, look at these clowns over here scaring people. We just want to build invisible walls and stuff and be French. So yeah, there's some tension in the cloud mine community. I think it's one of the things that might explode in 2020, because 2020 is looking like an explosive year.
Start baking shanks into their baguettes.
Yeah. It's so used to begin. But the topic of today's show is the death of Casey Anthony and the trial of Casey Anthony.
Not the death of Casey Anthony.
Death of
Caylee,
Anthony, and the trial of Casey Anthony. So, since it is true crime and crime is weird, let's get weird. You ready to get weird?
I'm ready to get weird. From like the things I was sort of reading out front, though.
Yeah.
I just see like weird similarities between this and the OJ case. But
I mean, there's a lot of similarities between this and the OJ Simpson case. The sensation of it. I think that was another reason why this case sticks out a lot to people, and not only that, the absurdity of this case is the media. And one person, which my venom is going to go to on this show, is Nancy Grace. Because I cannot stand Nancy Grace, and she really sensationalized the details of this case. I mean, this was a local Florida case. They would have heard about it and just went, oh, okay, until the verdict came on. But because of Nancy Grace, her sensationalism, and her all-out plot for revenge against the American public for the death of her boyfriend, we hear about it every day that Nancy Grace was on television. Because, hey, Nancy Grace, her boyfriend was killed, but we're all going to pay for it.
Wait, Nancy Grace's boyfriend was killed?
Yeah, that was one of the main things. She became a crime advocate and stuff on television. I believe her boyfriend, husband, was killed, and I don't know why she make us pay for it. But
that makes sense. I didn't know there was some like personal tragedy behind that.
Yeah, it is with her personal tragedy.
I mean, she's definitely, I'm not a psychologist, but she looks like a crazy person.
Yeah, she is. She sounds like a crazy person.
Some mental issues, but entertaining, obviously, to a lot of people.
Yeah, to a degree, but she
definitely looks, talks, and sounds like someone who has some deeply seated mental health issues.
Like really bad problems. But we'll get into Nancy Grace later. Let's give a little background on Casey Anthony. She grew up in pretty much regular middle class life. Her father was a cop who really didn't want to be a cop. He wanted to be. Don't laugh. He really wanted to be Goofy in Disney World. I told you not to laugh.
It had to be Goofy. It couldn't have been anybody
He wanted
else.
to be a character in Disney World. That's all he wanted to do. He wanted to be a character in Disney World, go around, take pictures with kids, hug them and love them and stuff. That's what he really wanted to do.
And somehow he couldn't achieve this dream.
I mean, he had 2 children, so really his responsibilities came about. So he clearly couldn't. And his wife is. Both of them are like fucked up. Casey Anthony's parents, but you see, we're looking at the dynamic of the family. You see that the wife is really. She has the balls. She has his balls in his purse, and it's a sexist statement, but she's the one that really runs that household.
She's driving the car.
Yeah, she's driving the car, and everyone else is in the back seat. But yeah, he really just. Want to be Goofy.
What is that? Is there some bigger statement we can extract from that about the American police system?
No, I think it's just him. You can extract about he just really didn't want to be a cop. He just really wanted to be a character and just hugs kids and loves kids. But there's nothing wrong with that.
Nothing wrong with that at all.
That seems awesome.
That's not what I thought we were going to say at all. But.
Yeah, but that's really what, and I think that just goes into his type of demeanor, just to go along with the flow of things and not rock the boat. So that tells you a lot. But Casey growing up, she was really, people say she was likable. Fair weather, never really stood out for the crowd. Then things kind of changed when she got into high school, and she started lying all the time. I mean, lying a lot. Just about to start off with little things, then you start getting to the big things. Like one of her things with a lie was up to the day she was supposed to graduate high school. She was just going along like everything is fine. Like she's accepting gifts, getting ready to go to prom, all that type of stuff. All of a sudden, I think